start our California edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are joined by Scott Svonkin. He is the president of the Los Angeles Community College District. And so I want to speak with you about issues that face all public entities and agencies, and that deals with pensions. You are a public entity, and as a result, you negotiate with union partners. And we know over the years that has presented serious challenges, especially for cities like San Bernardino and Stockton and Vallejo. They've gone bankrupt as a result.
Right.
Talk to us about the process for a community college district.
So most of our faculty and staff are in either PERS or CalSTRS, and those everybody knows are statewide, and we contribute to them. We pay our fair share, and we need to make sure that those funds are healthy.
The challenge, though, is that both PERS and STRS are underfunded.
Right.
It is undeniable. It's not the fault of LACCD.
Right. It's a statewide issue.
It's a statewide issue. But we know that PERS and STRS is doing everything they can to try to close those gaps.
Right.
And that means turning to their partners in the fund to try to create more revenue streams. And we know they closed some loopholes recently, which is going to increase mandated contributions. So how do you get around that?
Well, I don't think you get around it. I think you deal with it straight ahead. We have been very fiscally responsible in the LA Community College District. I'm proud to say, as chairman of the Budget and Finance Committee, that we have a 13% reserve, which is one of the greatest reserves in California. We have one of the highest bond ratings, and so we're healthy and able to pay our fair share.
But here's a challenge I would think you are facing. I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but this is what I think you're facing. A few years ago, when you were negotiating with your union partners, it was very easy to say, we're in an economic downturn, the state budget's in crisis, we cannot give you these raises, we need pension reform, and they were willing to help out.
They were.
Today, the state budget is flush, the economy is doing better, the argument's tougher.
It is a little tougher, but because they worked with us to save money in the tough times, we need to treat these people with respect. Most of them have had no raises in 5 years. So we have to be prudent. I've been able to help negotiate, along with my colleagues, a guarantee of a 10% reserve in the upcoming contracts. So the faculty and staff have all agreed that unless we have a 10% reserve, they don't get a raise.
Okay, so
that's unheard of.
I understand. I guess intuitively, as someone who's not in the process, a raise, probably to me and others, feels all right. It's a one-time raise. You know the raise is coming. It's these, we're going to give you pension bumps that's starting to make people real nervous. And so are you focused on the raise for today, or are your union partners coming at you and saying, we want a raise, but we also want these pension bumps?
Nobody's asked us for those. I think they understand that times are a little better, but we still have to restore classes. My number one goal, and the number one goal of my colleagues and the faculty and staff, is to rebuild our colleges in such a way that they are not only the best campuses, but we offer the broadest range of courses. We lost thousands of students in the downturn. Now we're rebuilding.
So as you march through this process, I happen to know you're up for reelection.
I am.
And I know that some of your union partners and labor partners in evaluating your candidacy have been a little reticent. I mean, ultimately they've come on board and endorsed the reelection, but you know, there's a price to pay if you are known as fiscally prudent, you know. So how do you navigate those waters?
Well, I think, you know, my plan is to run an aggressive campaign. I'm proud to have every union that represents our faculty and staff supporting me. Some of them came on early, some of them it took a little longer, but the fact is I'm prepared for the race. I'm the incumbent, I'm president of the board. That shows that my colleagues believe I'm doing a good job. The fact that every bargaining unit, every union, every group that represents and fights for our students believes Scott Svonkin's the right trustee for another 4 years. Look, I'm honest and direct with everybody. It's sort of my trademark. The fact that they took a little longer to come on and endorse me is fine. It just shows that I stand up for what I believe in, I fight for what I believe in, and I believe that our faculty and staff are critical to the success of our students. Everything I do is based on what will help students like me. Being a former high school dropout and now the president of the largest community college in the nation, I'm proud of my success. My success comes because I work hard and I fight for what I believe in.
But I'm wondering, though, if we have gotten to a point where having that endorsement, all those endorsements from these education unions is of benefit to a candidate. And let me, if I may, we've had this conversation both on and off camera.
Right.
We know that the superintendent's race for public instruction was quite the barn burner. Ultimately, the incumbent was successful.
Right, Tom Torlakson.
He had been supported by the unions, but it was a squeaker. I mean, he won by the smallest margin, 52-48 against another Democrat. And, you know, it just seems as if, you know, maybe it's time for Democrats to consider whether they want that, you know, stamp of union approval.
Look, I'm not going to shy away from the people that fight every day to make sure students like I have a better life. I'm proud of the fact that the faculty's endorsed me, but I will tell you, they didn't come on quickly, but they came on board. Being fiscally responsible, everybody agrees is the right thing to do. Republicans, Democrats, this is a nonpartisan office. I worked very hard for the last 4 years and actually for the last 8 years in supporting public education. I have the support of Republicans like Don Knabe and Mitch Englander. I have a huge breadth of support, both from labor and business leaders. I think the public's going to judge me based on not just one endorsement, but all of them. And the fact is I understand how to do the job. Nobody in my race has ever done the job, and I've made changes that make our colleges better.
But let's talk more broadly. Let's kind of talk from on high about this question of the power of labor unions, and specifically education labor unions, because those are the ones that seem to be really under a microscope today. I know you are a trustee for community college, 13-14. You know, in the K-12 system, the CTA really has taken a beating. I mean, they were very close to losing their superintendent of public instruction. A lot of it over teacher tenure questions, over protections, over pension issues. And so, you know, there's a real concern out there amongst advocates of education that the teachers' unions have become so recalcitrant, so entrenched, that if they don't move, that it's going to backfire.
Yeah. Well, my experience with our faculty is that they are good partners. When we needed to reduce our costs, they helped us. When we needed to move and save millions of dollars, they moved from an expensive health program to CalPERS, which saved the public $14 million. They're good partners. My experience with our labor unions is that they are focused on helping students.
You're not a CTA.
They're AFT.
AFT.
I
mean, some would say equally as culpable.
But Brad, as the son, the grandson, nephew, and brother of faculty, whether at K-12 or community colleges or universities, the fact is my family's been in the education business for a long time. And the idea that the public will lose trust in the people that teach our children is problematic, and it's scary because teachers are focused on helping our children. We have to just make sure that the public understands that paying them a fair wage is the right thing to do. Protecting bad ones is bad for all of them.
And that's where
I believe that's the public's concern. But the fact is 99.9% of the faculty at our colleges, 99.9% of the faculty at my children's schools are outstanding, dedicated people who are in public service like no other. They don't get paid a huge wage. If you teach kindergarten or elementary school or even college, you're not getting rich. The people that are getting rich are the people running oil companies and running healthcare companies. The people in our classrooms are not getting rich. They're focused on helping our kids.
What about the optics?
Of?
Vergara, Miramonte.
There are bad things that happen, but you don't blame all teachers or all bus drivers or all janitors or all of any group. The fact is there are bad corporations, and every corporation isn't bad. I just named some industries where they make a lot of money.
His name is Scott Svonkin. He is on fire today. He is the president of the Los Angeles Community College District. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's California Edition.